When it comes to set design, I say points to Lego House, but when it comes to price per value, get yourself to Azkaban. Hey, I'm Paul, and welcome to Build and Bond. I've been building and collecting Lego for over 25 years, and I use that expertise to give my point of view on whether or not these sets are great and what you're going to love about them, whether you're a collector, whether you're a parent, whether you're a MOC builder. There's always something here, but also things to consider before you make that investment. So this is the Hogwarts Castle Dueling Club 76441, and I have to say, is it wonderful? Sorry, I couldn't resist. I'm actually not so sure. I think there's things that are great and there are things that are definitely a miss, and we're going to go through each one of those things. At the end of this, we're going to go through a little speed build for you if you want to stick around for that. Let's talk about what you do get. So there are, despite the fact that it's a small carton, there are 3 bags of pieces. There is an instruction manual, and I was actually kind of pleased to see that there's no stickers. I say that because the cover art actually does show this really elaborate design on top of the table, which is quite screen accurate, but I was really worried personally about trying to get those stickers to actually line up. The fact that they're pre-printed is a real plus for me. You actually get 4 minifigures. You get Harry and Draco, you get Gilderoy Lockhart, and you also get Snape. What's really exciting about these is that all of these characters have 2 faces, so you can change their expressions, and that's really a lot of fun. Let's start with, if you're a collector, what would you like about this set? And there are some things that I wasn't expecting. Here we go. So you have some exclusive, desirable minifigures. So Professor Lockhart in his flashy lavender outfit is exclusive to this set. And I think it's a real draw. If you're a collector of minifigures, you're really going to love that. Professor Snape has a new torso print, according to what I was able to research, so slightly different from past versions. And I know that Harry and Draco are actually pretty common. Their dueling specific outfits might tie directly to the story better, but again, they didn't seem radically different to me. This is really an iconic vignette, so although it isn't really a full play set, it is a nice little vignette, and it certainly does serve a purpose. It's the only other time that we've seen this portion of the story ever constructed out of Lego. And despite the fact that it has problems when you put it into the set, I'll explain more about that later, it's still great to have it. The play feature does add a lot of novelty. So this dueling mechanism gives you something different, and the way that it's done is actually very economical, but really seems to work and really holds up as well. And you've got, again, with Lockhart himself, back to him specifically, you have that unique cape. And in fact, what's interesting about it is that that rubber cape was first introduced for Lego DC superheroes a couple of years back, mostly for Batman, as far as I know. And it was designed so it really holds shape. And I think that really suits him beautifully because he has that sort of air about him where it's like, look at me, and larger than life. And I think that actually is a good choice for him. So the first time that we're seeing this kind of a molded cape in Harry Potter is on him, and I think that makes perfect sense. I know some people don't like it. I really do. As a collector, there's a couple of things to think about. One is the price. You know, like with everything in Harry Potter, the IP means the price goes up, and this one seemed a little bit high for me. Secondly, it's pretty bare bones. So it is a vignette. You have to put it with something else to give it that display factor, which I think is really unfortunate. The price doesn't really support the weight of just this one big play piece in the center of it. Thirdly, you've got this really tiny build here of this fireplace, which doesn't need to be in there at all. It's not really a story point. And frankly, I've never been a huge fan of the collect all of the individual portraits thing. I think it's cool, but it's not really something that a collector is really going to care about so much, I think, and certainly not me. But it does make me think that there's a missing character, and that's the third part that I think as a collector is really a shame. So you've got Justin, the character who Draco is actually targeting with the snake, and that's what causes Harry to speak Parseltongue and cast suspicion about himself, and that's really what sets the rest of the story in place. So to have, for that price, to have had Justin included also would have been a wonderful addition and made this much more of a story-focused piece and not just this casual build that has the fun play feature. Now, also we have to talk about the fact that this set is shown in the manual and on the carton itself as pairing up with the Great Hall. This only place that you can actually include this without it just sliding all over the place is to actually remove all of the furniture in the Great Hall and the dining hall and putting this table in there. But you don't have a special place for this, and I think it would have been a really nice addition if it went with that. So this makes me think, as a fan of Lego and as someone who likes to think about these things maybe too much, that this set may have been designed before the modular series really kicked off. So everything else that's followed the Great Hall launch really has been truly modular and can slip in and out and fit in various places. This one definitely doesn't feel like that. If it had a base plate that allowed that to go into any of the spaces, it would have made a lot of sense. So this one makes me feel like it was designed in advance and maybe got released at the same time and sort of combined with the Great Hall. I might be wrong, but I would have liked to have seen this integrated a little bit better. As a collector of the entire new series, that would have made it even more fun. If you're a parent, really the number one thing you're concerned about here is, are the kids going to enjoy it, and is the price okay? The price is a little high. We're seeing it come down a little bit, so this might be a good thing to get now. Seems like a good birthday party kind of price for me, and it's very self-contained, with one exception. The snake has nowhere to live, so it could get lost very easily. That really annoys me. Kids will really love the fact that it has this play feature. Them flying off is great, but that means, of course, that like somebody is going to have to help them get these minifigs from out underneath the sofa from time to time. So if you can live with that, your kids are going to love it. And lastly, for my MOC friends, you might have passed over this set, but there really are a couple of things that make this quite unique and different. Number one is the printed tiles themselves, I think, are really beautiful and really exciting. So there's a lot of ways you could use those. I think I could imagine probably making a magic carpet out of this perhaps, or just using that in an interior. I think it's really cool, and they are incredibly rare because of this. The only time this has ever shown up. The second thing is this translucent spell effect that you have with the minifigures and their wands. So what's really cool is this is a new wand mold with the added grip. And so it shows how the wand is kind of fired. And it was only introduced in 2023, so only used a couple of times before. And what's nice is in my box, I actually got 4 of them. There's really only supposed to be 1 black and 1 brown, and I got 2 of each, which is great. So if you want to be able to use that effect, I can just see it for, magical combat or, I don't know, sci-fi weapons or sort of energy blasts. So I think it's a really fascinating thing to have. And again, it really has only shown up a couple places before this, so it's quite unique. Last but not least, of course, is you have Lockhart's cape in this sand green color, the only time we've ever seen it in this color, so definitely worth getting. So putting it all together, am I glad I got this set? Yeah, it's a fun experience, and I think it's worth it for a couple of the unique features that you get, definitely, especially as a collector. I don't like the fact that you have to remove everything to be able to make it work as a modular. I think it's really bare bones as a result of that, but I love these minifigures and these exclusives. So for me, it's a toss-up. This almost was like a hate build, right? I'd heard so much online about this that it was not a fun build and that people didn't like it. I almost was desiring to build it, if that makes sense, and see for myself. And it wasn't as bad as I expected. So kind of a fun thing. If you have room for it in your collection and you have a couple of extra bucks, great. It's perfect for that. As always, my favorite part about putting these sets together is doing it with you and for you. So thanks for spending time with me. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Whether you have this Lego set, whether you have any Lego set, doesn't matter. You got this, remember. All right, stick around for the speed build. Oh, poor Harry.